All right, hello. Welcome everyone to our macros masterclass. We're going to be talking about all the things today: calories, macronutrients, metabolism, how you can calculate your own custom macro plan. I'm going to take your questions. Hopefully I'll answer them and get you guys kind of going in the direction that you want to be going into. Hello. I was telling people before, hello. I'm going to go ahead and keep everyone muted as much as I love you, because I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tell you guys all the things. It'll be somewhat interactive, and I am going to ask for a volunteer later. But for the most part, if you guys want to be on camera, off camera, if you want to prep your dinner, whatever it is you're doing, totally fine. But I do want to ask you guys, before we kind of get into the whole thing, like, why are you here? What information did you want to get out of this macro masterclass? If you have access to your chat, I would love to see you write in the chat, like, what did you want to get out of this? And what did you want to learn? Like, why are you here? What did you want to get out of this macro class? What did you want to learn here today? Because I want to make sure that your questions are answered, and I want to make sure I'm giving you the information that you came here for. So pop it into the chat if you would, why you're here, what you want to learn. Yes. Okay, cool. So I see some answers already. We want to be able to be in a calorie deficit that's not going to be probably extreme, so an appropriate caloric deficit. And then also I want to know about macronutrition, so we're starting from zero, and I'm going to treat this as kind of like a 101. We don't even know what the heck a macronutrient is, so we're going to be very like basic. Cool, love it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation for you guys. So give me 1 second while I share my screen and get that going for you. Let's see, over here, slideshow. Okay, you guys can all see my big teal screen. This is Macros Masterclass. Yes, just nod your head if you can see the teal screen that says Macros Masterclass. Perfect. Okay, and I have one more thing in the chat that I wanted to look at. Yes, got it. Okay, just want to make sure you're eating the right stuff. Okay, so Macros Masterclass. This is going to be an overview of calories, macronutrients, so you can start to use macros to work towards your goals. So that is what we're doing today. A little bit about me before I start. I am a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer since 2015. I am certified as a nutrition coach by a company called Precision Nutrition. It is a very large nutrition company that certifies personal trainers to work with their clients in nutrition. So I'm using it exactly how it was designed. I am a fitness coach using the tools that I learned through Precision Nutrition, which is just a very holistic approach rooted in science. There's no specific diet. It's more just about like eating healthy, energy in, energy out. Love it so much. I've been using it for a long time. It's helped me, it's helped my clients. I am the owner of Reach Fitness, so that is my company. It is just me, and I work with many clients everywhere. So not just in my hometown where I live, which is Clovis, California, but all over the country and even in other countries as well, which is very cool. I primarily coach kettlebells. My nutrition course is called Macros for Muscles. And in this group nutrition course, I teach people all of the things that I know about nutrition. It's a week by week course. We take things pretty slow, and I like it because you get sort of everything I know about nutrition, and we can really just quit the extremes of, you know, I can never eat chocolate again. Don't worry, you can. A little bit about me personally. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a former high school and collegiate athlete. My previous career was in journalism. And in terms of like how diet and nutrition goes, I was a very restrictive dieter kind of without knowing it. So this picture, the first picture you see, the one that's more on the left, is when I was in a competition prep. So I was going to do a bodybuilding show and I did a couple of them in 2014. I hired a coach to kind of tell me what to do and just sort of blindly followed whatever she told me to do, which was workouts and nutrition. And I didn't know that I was in this like very extreme phase of my life. And from there, I went into like some hardcore paleo diets and all the things. And then once I got pregnant and I received my education in precision nutrition, I kind of realized that, wow, I was really extreme without even knowing it, like lots of foods that I wouldn't touch or I would feel bad about eating. And so after I learned about just a more holistic approach to nutrition, and at the time I was pregnant, so it was really good timing for all that. It really taught me how to just have a more sustainable and moderate approach to nutrition. And I like to use macros because I feel like the advice of just eat more vegetables and like maybe just eat less overall is kind of ambiguous and it's really hard to get specific about. So I like to use macros for myself and with my clients to really understand like what your body needs, how much you should be eating, moderation with all the things, and really be able to track where you are, where you want to be, and how to get from point A to point B. And it doesn't have to be forever, but at least for some amount of time while you're learning about your body and what it needs and what you thrive eating. The picture on the right, so the first picture is from 2014. I can't remember if I said that. The second picture is from 2020. So, you know, between the two pictures, about 6 years had passed. I had a child. Was not restrictive with my diet anymore, drank wine all the time, ate whatever, but just kind of had a pulse overall of like how much I was eating, what I was eating, just trying to find a balance in all the things. So my before and after picture is maybe not normal because it's kind of like the opposite. But as you could tell, like extreme behaviors and then more moderate approach. And that is my results. All right, here's what we're going to cover today. On the left is what we're going to cover. We're going to have a better understanding of calories and macronutrients, metabolism, and then I'm going to take you through how to use macros for your goals. Oh, and by the way, I still need a volunteer. So if you are willing to share a little bit about yourself, and that's going to include how much you weigh and what your goal is, I just want to like let you know in case you're afraid to tell anyone what your weight is. And by the way, I don't care what you weigh and no one else does either, but you might care. So I need a volunteer and I need to know your weight. And I'm going to ask you a bunch of other questions too, and your age. We're also going to cover what the next steps could be for you. And then on the right, I just want to let you know what we're not covering because, okay, Anna raised her hand. And then there's someone in the chat too.
Yeah, this is Holly. I'd be happy to do it if you don't have somebody else.
Okay, thank you so much, Holly. And then Vanessa said she can share, but she doesn't know her weight. Love it. Okay, don't worry.
I do know mine. We can compare notes.
Okay, oops, I did not mean to do that. Now I have to escape. Someday I'm gonna have like a full tech person to do all my things for me. Okay, what we're not gonna be covering tonight is the application of the information that I'm gonna be providing today. So like how to implement all this stuff, I'm not gonna be showing you guys because obviously we have like a limit on time. How to actually track what you're eating and the nuances of tracking. And then I'm not also going to cover like what kind of fitness you should be doing while you're tracking your macros. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. First, what is a calorie? So a calorie is just a unit of energy that is assigned to a food. So the only thing that doesn't really have calories in it would be water. Every food has calories. Most drinks have calories, including alcohol, believe it or not. And so calories aren't a good thing or a bad thing, they just are. So it's just a unit of energy, calorie. We all have a certain amount of calories that we need to just exist in life. So if you're eating a balance of calories for what your body needs, then you will be in an energy balance. You will be in homeostasis. You will be not losing weight, not gaining weight, but just staying the same. So energy balance, if you're eating the amount of calories that your body needs. If you are eating less calories on a regular basis than what your body needs, then you would be losing weight. So we would call that a calorie deficit or a cut. You would be losing weight. If you are gaining weight, then you are obviously in a calorie surplus. You are eating more food, you are taking in more calories than what your body actually needs. So therefore we're storing fat. We could be adding muscle to our frame. We could be holding on to water. If we're gaining weight, we're in a surplus of some type. Okay, Holly, would you do me a favor and go ahead and mute yourself? Because the way I'm recording, I don't know if they're going to be looking at you or looking at this. Thank you. Okay, so when we say calorie, or we say like an energy dense food, so if something is energy dense, that might mean there's a lot of calories in the food. I have snacks in here. So that might be like my daughter's sugary cereal, where there's, you know, some calories in the cereal, but are there a lot of nutrients in here? No, not really. So not void of nutrients, but a low amount of nutrients for an energy dense food or for a high calorie food. A nutrient dense food would be the opposite. It would be something like broccoli, where there's a lot of nutrients in it, but it is not have a high calorie value. So things like vegetables, I don't know, some kinds of like lean protein. There's a lot of nutrients in them, but there's not a ton of calories associated. So if you're on a low calorie diet or a high calorie diet, there could be any kinds of foods in there. Some of them are higher in value and lower in value. Some of them have more nutrients, some of them have less nutrients. Obviously, if we're trying to lose weight, we want to eat more foods that are lower in calories, that have higher nutrients in them than Oreos, which are going to be higher in calories, but lower in nutrients. So counting calories, I just like this graphic and I use it sometimes. What it is, it's a tool to help you reach your weight goals. It's a technique that you can use to just understand nutrition as a whole. It could be a responsible way to track what you're eating. And it can also be an effective way to either try to be at a calorie surplus or a deficit. A surplus if you're trying to add muscle and fat and all the things to your frame to get bigger, and a deficit if you want to be smaller. What calorie counting isn't, which part of this is cut off, but it's not something that should be done forever. It's not automatically an obsessive thing, although it can become one if you tend to have an obsessive personality, or you've had some issues with eating disorders in the past. I would caution you about calorie counting and macro tracking. It is not something that's necessary in order to lose weight, but like I said, I think it is a very specific way that you can really hone in on what it is that you need. And it is not necessarily a form of restrictive dieting. It could be. There's a dark side of everything. Okay, let's talk a little bit about macronutrients. So a calorie is just a unit. Say if something has 100 calories. So let's say this cereal right here, I didn't mean to have show and tell, but it's just here. Let's say this bag of cereal is 150 calories. That doesn't tell us anything about the macronutrients that are in this cereal. It's just 150 calories. But what macros, like what is the breakdown of this food? So a macronutrient, there's three main ones. There's carbohydrates, there's fat, and protein. Alcohol is actually its own macronutrient, but we're not going to talk a lot about that today. And I don't really talk a lot about it in my course either. But a macronutrient is either a carbohydrate, a protein, or a fat. So they all have a different calorie value according to their weight. So carbohydrates, 4 calories per gram, protein, 4 calories per gram, fat, 9 calories per gram. So a fat is something that's going to be more calorie dense than like a carbohydrate or a protein. Alcohol has 7 calories per gram. Like I said, it's just kind of its own thing, but we're not going to go into great detail about that. Most foods have a combination of macronutrients. This cereal right here is going to be mostly, because this is junk cereal, it's going to be mostly carbohydrates. There's probably not a lot of fat in here. It's probably just a lot of sugar, something that used to resemble a grain, but it's probably mostly carbs. Carbohydrates are going to be things like rice and bread and sugar and fruit, and vegetables are a carb. Carbs aren't inherently bad. Fat isn't inherently bad. Protein isn't good or bad. They just are. But most foods are a combination of things. So this, I believe it's a Venn diagram. This diagram shows us some carbs. So some examples would be the bread and the fruit. Protein. So there's fish, there's dairy, there's chicken, probably steak. And then there's fat. So that's going to be things like our cooking oils, nuts, coconut. And then there's like the in-between stuff, right? So in between carbohydrates and protein is, I believe there's beans in there. That's mostly like edamame, beans. So those are going to have lots of carbs and some protein. So it's both. In between of protein and fat, we have some cheese, we have some eggs, and we have, that might be bacon or that might be fish, but that's a good example. Bacon, maybe it's protein and it's higher in fat. Lots of foods have all three, but they are usually more of one thing than the other. So I like to use peanut butter as an example, because people think that like, oh, like, well, I'm eating peanut butter, that's protein. I didn't bring it in here, but look at the nutrition facts on the back of peanut butter. It is mostly fat. So yes, there is protein in peanut butter, but the vast majority of the calories you're getting come from fat. That doesn't make it a bad thing, but don't lie to yourself and say, oh, this is a very protein rich meal because it has 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. No, it's high in fat, it's high in calories. It's fat dense and calorie dense, but it's not protein dense. There might be like 3 grams of protein in 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. I haven't memorized it, but it's something like, it's not the same. There's not more protein. It's not a protein. There's protein in it, but it is more fat than protein. Okay, we're just going to keep on rolling along. So that is an overview of just macronutrients. The importance of macronutrients in what we're talking about today is you could be in a calorie deficit and only eat Oreos, and you could be eating, say, 1,200 calories of Oreos, and you could lose weight, right? Because maybe you need 1,500 calories to live your life, and you're eating 300 less calories every day for a while than you actually need. So you're going to be losing weight. But what's going to happen is your body composition will stay the same. So everything might get a little bit smaller, but you're going to lose fat, you're going to lose muscle. And so what we want to do is we want to use macronutrients in a way to manipulate maintaining the muscle that's on our body and losing fat. I don't think any one of us, unless you're a bodybuilder that has a ton of muscle on their body and they want to lose muscle, I don't think there's anyone that's on this call or that's listening to this recording that's like, you know what, to hell with the muscle on my body, I just want more fat and whatever else. Like, no, we all need the muscle on our body. We're all getting older. We all need to prioritizing keeping muscle and probably adding muscle onto our frame. And we would also love to lose fat, I'm assuming most of us. So in order to do that, we need to manipulate our macronutrients, not just be in a calorie deficit, but prioritize eating enough protein so that the mass that we lose is primarily fat. It's not ever going to be only fat that you lose, but if you're eating enough protein, then that is, we're going to be a step in the right direction. Okay, moving on. Metabolism. Okay, so I'm sure we've all heard of metabolism before. My metabolism is wrecked. Her metabolism is high. His is not. we all have metabolism. It could all change throughout our life, depending on kind of what stage of life we're in, whether we're pregnant, nursing, older, younger, all the things. It's constantly changing. But our metabolic rate is kind of, let's just say for me, let's just say I need 2,000 calories to just like be in a homeostasis, right? So that might be, and that would be kind of high. Maybe 1,500 would be probably a better example. That might be my resting metabolic rate or my basal metabolic rate. Those two numbers are typically very close. And your resting or your basal metabolic rate means if you were just like chilling in bed, you were sick for a week, you weren't doing anything. You weren't really walking around, you weren't walking your dog, you definitely weren't exercising, you weren't even going to the store. You still need calories in order to just maintain your weight, in order to have your organs functioning properly, your cells to be dividing and doing all the things for your body. So that's going to be your metabolic rate, either resting or basal. That number is going to hinge heavily on many things, including whether you're a male or a female, how old you are, how much muscle you currently have on your body, what your activity level is, how much you're exercising, and more. Okay, so all of that factors into your metabolic rate. And you can change your metabolic rate. So it'll adapt up and it'll adapt down based on what else is happening in your life. So that's the cool thing about your metabolism. Like if you think it's broken, it's not. Maybe it has adapted down, or maybe it has adapted up, or maybe you're just in a perfect place always, but it can change and it will change. Your metabolism is affected by your activity level, kind of what muscle is on your frame, and your metabolism will determine that thing that we talked about being an energy balance, a deficit, or a surplus. So your metabolism factors into all these things. This graphic is just, I like it because it shows you kind of like the extremes that you kind of have to go to be in that like super healthy, the bottom right quadrant, where it's like both of these people have six packs, their muscles are popping. For males, that's like 6 to 9% body fat. For females, that's anywhere from 16 to 19% body fat. Like you have to be doing all the things to really get super lean. And so do you want to sacrifice your social life and like not eating out? Like you have to be very disciplined and dialed in to get to that hard body kind of look. But for most of us, if we're sitting for males at over 20% body fat, or for females at 30% body fat or higher, there are some simple things that we can do to transition from like unhealthy to healthy or even healthier before we get into like that super ultra lean, like ripped body look. So I like to show this as like, what are you willing to do? Because we could get you to wherever you want to be, but it's going to get harder and harder and harder the less fat you have to lose, or the less like places you have to go if you've already dropped your calories super low, or you're already working out for 50 hours a week, etc. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit more about protein, because this is the macronutrient that like I really pay attention to in my nutrition course, Macros for Muscles. This is one even more so than carbs and fat. I'm like, whatever about carbs and fat, as long as your calories are where we've determined that they should be. Your protein is the one macronutrient that I really want you to pay attention to, because it's so essential. So a little bit more about protein than the other three macronutrients. It is found in animal meat, beans, nuts, seeds, dairy, protein supplements. I love protein because it helps us feel full and satiated. So when we eat protein, we're not like, where's the next thing? Where's the next thing? Where's the next thing? Like we can be if we're just eating donuts all day, which are a combination of carbs and fat, not a lot of protein in donuts. After we work out and our muscles are broken down, because that is kind of what we're doing when we're working out, we're straining our muscles. This is natural. Eating protein helps us rebuild and repair our muscle fibers. So it's good for muscle building. We're constantly using protein in our body. We're excreting it, recycling it, and we need to be eating it a lot to replenish, okay? So we need to eat protein throughout the day, not just on Tuesdays or not just on at night. There's something called the thermic effect of food. So that is the amount of energy our body is using to just digest whatever we've eaten. When you eat more protein, you are using more energy to break down that protein. So if you've ever heard the joke like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have the meat sweats after I eat this 20-ounce steak, there is some truth to that. Like you might actually get sweaty when you're digesting meat because it is harder on your body to digest. So you're burning more calories slightly. It's not like night and day. It is a slight amount, but when we're doing all this stuff, like every little bit kind of counts. So there's a higher thermic effect of your digestion when you are breaking down protein. Fun fact. Okay, so for most people, a great minimum protein goal would be about 100 grams per day. So if you like math and you want to do math, most people would agree that we need about 0.7 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Now, this kind of gets thrown off if you weigh 300 pounds or you have a lot of weight to lose, because then it's like eat 300 grams of protein, which just might not work for a lot of people. So if you're already at a healthy weight, you can kind of calculate 0.7 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But a great just kind of starting place for women and men is going to be 100 grams per day. And for some people, this is going to feel like a big stretch goal. And for other people that have been practicing a little bit more, no big deal. So I recommend when we're trying to get to that 100 grams of protein per day goal, we eat it throughout the day. Don't just have zero protein and then at dinner be like, cool, I have to eat 20 ounces of chicken. Like that's not going to feel good to you. And then drink egg whites after that. Like that's not going to be fun. So protein at breakfast, protein at lunch, protein in your snacks, protein at dinner, and just divide it up. If you're trying to get to 100 grams of protein, go like 25 at breakfast, 30 at lunch, 30 at dinner, and another 15 throughout the day when you're eating your snacks. Don't forget about it and save it till last, because you won't hit your goal if you're going about it in that type of a way. Not all protein is created equal. So like if you're eating half a pound of bacon, that's going to be a lot more calories and a lot more fat than if you're eating a lean chicken breast, which might be a serving of that might be 150 calories and give you 20 grams of protein, where, 10 strips of bacon, just random numbers, could be like 500 calories and give you 15 grams of protein. Like that's not a great ratio. So sometimes when we talk about like, this food has good macros, what does that mean? In general, like having good macros depends on your goal, but I think for a lot of people, it means it's lower in calories and has a good amount of protein and not a ton of carbs and fat relative. Leaner protein is going to work best if you're trying to be in a caloric deficit or in an energy balance. So eating more chicken, less bacon or sausage or pepperoni, for instance. Okay, let's see. Anna volunteered. Anna, I'm going to do you because I like talking to you. I've known Anna for a long time. Can you unmute yourself so we can go through this calorie calculator?
I am unmuted and I love you too.
Okay. Okay, so I am going to dump out of this and we're going to go to a calorie calculator, and I'm just going to pop this URL into the chat, you guys, because if you want to do it alongside with us, you can. But this is just available on the internet. I'm not more special than anybody else. Like, you guys can do this too. This is something that a lot of nutrition coaches will charge money for. Like, I'm going to set your macros, and they have some secret formula that other people don't have access to. There's a million nutrition calculators on the internet, on MyFitnessPal. The problem is most of them are crap. right? They're like collecting some information, but not good information. MyFitnessPal in particular. And there's ways that you can like answer the questions more smart and less smart. But I think for the most part, MyFitnessPal starts people off with like really low calories. Precision Nutrition doesn't do that. And they ask better questions. They get like more information to have a better recommendation of like what it is you need. And the reason why I'm going through this with you guys live in this is because there's a lot of questions that people don't know how to answer. And so they're like, I got stuck. So we're going to talk through that stuff right now so that when you get hung up on a certain question, you have an idea of how to answer it so that you can get the best numbers for you. Okay, so we're just going to do this. This is for a client. And Anna, how old are you?
45.
45. Okay, and you, last I checked, were female. You are 5 feet and
6 inches.
Ooh,
I like to
what?
lie at 7, but it's really 6.
I know. Did you shrink?
We'll
Okay,
say
what's
that.
your weight right now?
145.
And then, okay, your goal. So this is one that people are like, I don't know what this means. Lose weight. So that means you have at least 10 to 15 pounds of weight that you want to lose. And this would be like, think about, I just want to drop weight. Like, and I would say maybe if you have more than 20 pounds to lose, because this is going to bring your calories down a lot. And it's going to suggest a lot of protein. Okay. So when you hit the losing weight option, it's not going to be a ton of calories. Building muscle, so that's going to be like you're going to be in an energy surplus, so it's going to suggest more calories than what this computer thinks that you actually need. Athletic performance, I'm assuming this is going to be more for people who are athletes, like professional athletes or weekend warriors or whatever, and they just want to eat to support their athletic goals. Body recomposition. So this is one that you don't have a lot of weight to lose, or you don't really care what the scale says. So this could be like Vanessa, where you were like, I haven't weighed myself. So body recomposition might be a good one for someone who doesn't necessarily have a lot of weight to lose, but they're like, hey, I would love to lose some fat and build some muscle, and maybe my weight stays the same and my calories are going to stay more at a energy balance, but the ratio of macronutrients and just eating at a calorie balance over time will result in losing fat, possibly gaining or maintaining your muscle mass. And then improve health, whatever, like you don't care what happens with the scale, you just want to like eat better and get like a better, handle on your health. So which of these 5?
Ugh. I think I would probably want to do a hybrid of body recomposition.
There's not a hybrid, it's one or the other.
All right, body recomposition. I've got about 10-ish pounds that I'd like to lose, even less is fine, but just kind of reconstituting and regaining some of the muscle mass that leaves as you age. How's that?
Thank you. All right. So, and by the way, you guys, if you do this yourself, like whatever you answer, you can go back. There's a back arrow. And if you come up with calories or macros, or you're like, I'm not happy with this, you can do it again. Like there is no limit on how many times you can do this. So you can always like, I think it's a little bit over the top to put together like 10 different options and then choose the one that you like, or do a hybrid. But honestly, you guys can do whatever you want, right? Like I'm not the police. You can make it however you want to make it. Okay, Anna, dietary preferences. So anything is like, you'll eat anything, because what this is going to do is suggest like a sandwich if you say you'll eat anything. But if you say I want to eat vegetarian, then it's not going to suggest that you eat chicken. It'll suggest other things, right? So anything Mediterranean, which is going to be, and Anna knows this, but I'm just saying for anyone that doesn't, more like, well, it says it on here. I'm not going to read it. Anything Mediterranean, paleo, vegetarian, ketogenic, or fully plant-based.
I would say Mediterranean for me.
Because it has wine on it, huh?
Wasn't gonna say it out loud to people I don't know, but
Okay, so this is just asking, do you want to use the Mediterranean diet standard macronutrients? I would suggest yes, because just taking a look at this, it is a balanced approach. So 30% protein and then a split of carbs and fat. If someone were to select ketogenic, it would be much higher in fat and much lower in carbs. If someone was going to select vegetarian, I've actually never selected that myself, but I'm assuming the protein might go down a little bit just because it is really hard to get 30% of all of your calories coming from protein if you're not eating any animals at all. So this is fine. I would say just use standard, and unless you're like an extreme special flower, but even I'm not, I just say standard. So there we go. Okay, how many meals do you like to eat each day? Because this is going to give you some suggestions. If you're like, I only eat 2 meals a day, then it's to be like, all right, cool. You got to eat 700 calories at each of those meals. Or if you're like, oh, I like to eat 4 meals, like breakfast 1, breakfast 2, lunch, and dinner, you know? So you could say 1, you could say 8, or anything in between. You could say
2,
3.
probably 2.
All right. Okay, and then this is another one that like hangs people up a lot because they're like, I don't know how active I am. This is not exercise. This is what you do throughout the day that has nothing to do with your exercise. So are you a teacher? Are you standing all day? Are you a server? Are you walking from table to table? Do you work in a hospital where you're like making rounds all the time? Or do you sit at a desk? Or are you a construction worker and you're like lifting rocks all day? What is your activity? Very light would be like chilling. Light, I don't know, a mix. Moderate, you know, someone who's on their feet, and then heavy, someone who's like really busting a sweat.
I would say light for me.
Okay.
Best
And
job with teaching.
This is going to determine how many calories this computer suggests. So if you say that you are doing heavy machinery, it's going to add a certain amount of calories for that. If you say very light, it's going to be fewer calories for that. So just so you know what this question's about. The next question is going to be about exercise. So how much are you working out and how strenuous are you working out? And if you're working out with 3-pound dumbbells, do not say you're doing very intense exercise because you're probably not. So very light would be like, I'm not working out at all. Light would be 1 to 3 hours of gentle to moderate exercise. Moderate, intense, very intense. I'm a personal trainer and I put moderate for this because I'm probably not doing more than 4 hours of exercise a week. So yeah, there you go.
Light.
What do you think? You're not
I'd like
working
to
out?
lie, but it's light.
All right, well.
Lying
you
helps
should change
nobody
that.
here.
Okay, so this is going to be just like kind of a dashboard of what Precision Nutrition has come up with for you. So just so you guys know, like this is a computer. Precision Nutrition hasn't gone into Anna's body and, you know, dissected her and analyzed like how much muscle she has on her body, how much fat she has on her body. It's just getting information that we can get, how tall she is, how old she is, how active she is, but we'll never know. Like this is a best guess with the information that we have. It's good, but it's not amazing. It's not black and white. It's not the be all end all. I want you guys to know that these like numbers that you're getting from this computer are a starting point. But if you try to eat in the way that it tells you and you're starving, then that's telling you something. If you're like so full you can't even finish the food, then that's telling you something. So listen to your body. You can do whatever you want. This is not like you're not married to these numbers. You can manipulate them. You can do whatever you need to do. Okay. So just sort of know that. Okay. So for you, what is it saying? Yes, I want to get the full download. I want the full thing. It says there's a brief summary, but I don't even see the brief summary. Anna. I'll email this to you, Anna. I don't know what that is. Did it download? You're kidding me. Did it not download the thing? Where did it go?
I think it required the email in there.
Oh, serious. Sorry, guys. Why? I should have. This will take 2 seconds. We said body recomp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mediterranean, because you fancy. 2 meals. Light. You said light. Download the complete guide. I have an account already though. That's why I'm like, why is this? Oh, I probably should have just said it was for myself. Dang it. Maybe it'll be in my email. Yeah. If not, I will go through this one more time and just say it's me. Son of a gun, why is it being so annoying? Okay, one more time. It's for me. What are you having for dinner, Anna?
To be honest, I'm not so sure because my husband's not cooking tonight, so it might just be cereal.
I was gonna say, what is Andreas making?
Oh, too much good food. Too much good food. It's a lifetime battle with him, guys.
Rachel,
Try
Yeah.
just doing the sign
do you
in.
see the sign in at the bottom?
Yeah,
Do I need to sign in?
Yeah.
yeah.
I already have an account. So go right here.
Yeah.
Okay. I swear I don't remember having to do this in the past.
Is it Rachel? You need an L in there.
It's not, it's just Rach.
Oh, Rach. Oh, I should have known that. All right.
Let's see. I don't feel like it's here though.
Rach, I just did mine and that was where it was at. It was like the top right.
What did it do?
When I just did mine and I opened my email, that's where it went to, that you're free, like right under that little, yeah.
Oh, you think it's in my email?
Well, no, I think it's back where you were, but I think it's to the like upper right of where you were. That little thing with the little window was hiding it, maybe.
Oh, oh no.
Yeah, so go
Well,
back to the web page that you were at.
the web page. This one,
Mhm.
that one.
Your free ultimate macros calculator results are here on the right.
Oh, but
There you
it's
go.
not. I didn't do the ultimate calculator though. I just went to like the free one. Oh, is that it though?
That's
Yeah, it
me.
is.
I think so. Try reading with my old eyes. Telling
This is
you
a
guys.
group. This is a group think. We are putting our heads together. Oh, there it is.
There you go.
I feel like it's like never taken this much effort for me to get the dang download, and I do this quite a bit. Okay. Is this mine now?
But I think it's yours
This is
based on my
definitely,
stuff.
no, this yeah, it's definitely yours. Okay. Okay, so
Why are you
when
saying that
guys
because of the
do this-
age?
Well, yeah, because I was like, I weigh 145 pounds too. And I don't think I put Mediterranean though. I usually just do anything for me. But this is what you guys are going to get. So I just want to briefly like run through this. It's typically a 17-page document. And this is all stuff that you guys can do for yourselves, and you can print it out, or you can just keep it save it wherever. But it's going to tell you, I'll show you kind of where to look at like your calories and the actual macro numbers. So it says it at the bottom of this page. So for you, Anna, it says 1900 calories, and your macro breakdown is 140 grams of protein. The vegetables don't have grams associated with them, but like 4 to 6 servings of vegetables, 168 grams of carbs, and 75 grams of fat. So there are some meal suggestions here based on Mediterranean preferences. So this is not a meal plan. This is just suggestions and telling you kind of what would be in it. They don't assign calories to these, just kind of like servings or portions of the different macros. And then it's just talking about how to eat right for your goals. This is all stuff that you guys can kind of read at your leisure. This is some hand portions if you didn't want to weigh and measure your food, which I would suggest that you or anyone do at least initially to get a really good understanding for what the values of things are. Talking about consistency, my preference is 80% consistent, 20% doing what the heck you want, because when you're 80% consistent, you still have some flexibility and freedom. When you're 100% consistent, that's a great way to hit a wall and give up. I don't love this chart, but if you guys wanted to use this chart talking about the tracking using your hands as servings. And I wanted to go to this chart right here. So I love this one. There's a chart for protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And it just is like, eat more of these things. These things are okay. Eat as little of these things as you can. So eating more. So it's going to be the lean proteins. So leaner fish, things like shrimp, shellfish, chicken breast, turkey, duck breast, leaner cuts of beef, yogurt, cottage cheese. I love the insects suggestion because I know you guys are going to be loving that. Lentils and beans, eating some. So these are going to be proteins that are not going to be like as super awesome for you, but eating them is not going to derail you. Things like edamame, jerky meats, Canadian bacon. The things that we want to be eating less of are going to be fried chicken, fried, whatever, high fat meats, sausages, pepperoni, things like that, that are going to be a lot more processed and have a lot more fat in them. Same with carbohydrates. So we want to be eating more things like the beans and steel cut oats and rice, yada, yada, sweet potatoes, fruit, corn, eating some other stuff that's not as nutrient dense, but still good. And then eating less of things like cereal bars, juices, flavored milk, etc. Donuts are in that category. I had one today. All right, fats. So eating more olive oils, avocados, cashews, for example, eating some of the middle column and less of the things on the right. Eat all the vegetables, eat the rainbow of vegetables. If it is a beautiful color and a vegetable, eat it. You probably need more of it. As a disclaimer, as we up our protein and we bring down the amount of, as we up our protein, a lot of times that will affect your digestion, especially if you're going from like 50 grams of protein a day to like 140. We want to also eat more vegetables so that our digestion can be regular and we're not getting super constipated from like all the protein and not enough of the other stuff. That is pretty much it for this guide. Thank you guys for helping me find it. And you guys can do this yourselves and put this up on your refrigerator, just wherever you want to see it often. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my slideshow because I have a few more slides that I want to talk to you guys about, and then we will wrap things up. So we did the precision nutrition calculator. Now we're going to talk about what you can do next. So before I talk about what to do next, really what I want you to do after you get your numbers, I would suggest using something like MyFitnessPal or some sort of a calorie tracker. Put your numbers into the goals of MyFitnessPal and start tracking your food and just kind of see how it goes for you. Try to hit your calories, try to hit your protein. So the next step is start to do these things. So if you have your custom numbers, if you have your calories and your protein, start trying to implement it. And for a lot of you guys, you have the information, you're go-getters, you're gonna hit the ground running and you're gonna do it yourself. And that is awesome. I want you guys to succeed. I want you guys to have the information to be able to do this yourselves. For those of you that want a little bit more coaching, hand-holding, kind of what to expect through, as you're starting to learn how to track and starting to implement these things, a lot of you guys are going to have questions. A lot of you guys are going to hit roadblocks and you're just going to need a little bit more support. So I want to let you know that my 8-week nutrition course, Macros for Muscles, is coming up. We're going to get started next week on Monday. So I want to let you know about that. It is a course to establish healthy habits, to implement your custom macro plan. There's accountability, there's a community, there's support, there's coaching calls with me, access to me all the time, and there's weekly lessons and habits that we'll practice along the way. We're going to use something called the SAM method, and that means we're going to get specific with the amount of calories and macronutrients, specifically protein, to dial in your diet. And this is all rooted in science. It's not just random numbers that I'm coming up with and telling you guys to just drink a bunch of celery juice. So these are numbers rooted in science that should work for you. You're going to receive step-by-step instructions at a slow enough pace that it doesn't all feel overwhelming all at one time. We're going to absorb new information each week before moving on to the next thing. So we're not drinking from a fire hose. Hopefully, this is going to be a step-by-step course, A before B, B before C. There's accountability with me in this small group container. You know me, I'm going to know you. You're going to know other people in the group. I want this thing to be small and intimate so that you're not one of 300 people doing this course. You're going to be one of like 10, maybe up to 20. Okay, so it's going to be a small container. We're all going to know each other. We're going to be supporting one another. And then M just stands for moderation with all the things, right? I'm super big believer in moderation, 80-20 rule with a lot of things, and practicing consistency over perfection, because consistency over time is going to get us where we go, not being perfect for 3 days or 1 week. Consistency over time, even consistency past the 8 weeks. I think 8 weeks is a great starting place. And I think a lot of people can wrap their brains around, what am I going to be doing for the next 8 weeks? Is this a good time? Beyond that, that doesn't mean that like you're done forever. It means that hopefully in 8 weeks, you've learned enough to continue on, taking the information that you have to kind of make it your own. In Macros for Muscles, we're going to be covering this and more, but just a sort of exhaustive list: goal setting, hitting your calorie range, how to hit your protein minimums, hitting fiber goals, just being mindful about your food choices, how to stay motivated when you want to stop, 80-20 method or 80-20 rule, getting enough water, getting enough sleep, how to manage your stress, and the way these lifestyle choices will play into how our body looks and feels and how we're storing fat or not, what to do when you overeat, how to like get back on track, how to meal plan, and a whole lot more. So Macros for Muscles is for people who want a structured scientific approach. They want a flexible diet. They want to eat a variety of food. They want to keep the muscle they have and potentially lose body fat. You can also use macros to gain weight. I'm assuming most people are not in that camp. The vast majority want to lose body fat, but you definitely can be in Macros for Muscles, and I can help you get into a surplus in a safe way. This is for people who want accountability and they want community. This is not for people who want a meal plan. I'm not going to tell you what to eat. I'm also not going to be the food police. This is something that you guys need to kind of figure out for yourselves. What do you want to eat? What do you like to eat? These are some things that I suggest, but you guys can make it your own. This is not a meal plan thing. This is not for people who have a disordered eating tendency or could easily slide into disordered eating. This is not for people who have an all or nothing mindset. This is not for people who don't have the time or desire to track. You don't have to track forever, but you at least need to track for a while. That means you need a, MyFitnessPal or something on your phone that you can track with. You need a food scale. You need a little bit of time on the front end to figure this stuff out. You're not just guessing, because if you're guessing, then you're not really assessing and you're not really knowing how to move the needle if you're just guessing. This is not for people who want a restrictive diet. I do not care what you eat. I just want you guys to hit your goals eating what you want to eat to do that. There's obviously foods that are going to be better for you to do that and foods that are going to be not as great. But this is not a restrictive diet where you don't get to eat carbs or you don't get to eat whatever. Macros for Muscles is going to run from October 10th to November 4th. So we're starting in a week from tomorrow. The regular price for this 8-week course is $299. But for you guys, since you raised your hand to be in this masterclass, it's a lower price point, but it's only a lower price point for the next 48 plus hours. At midnight on Tuesday, the price is going to go up to $299. So you guys need to figure it out if you want to do this or not. Zero pressure. I don't care what you guys do. I just want you to get the better price for being in this class. It's only on sale for you guys at $225, and then it's going to go on sale to everyone who didn't do this class at $299 beginning on Wednesday. For anyone who decides they want to get in on Macros for Muscles, by Monday at midnight, you're going to get a bonus, a 30-minute diet deep dive call with me, where we can talk about kind of what you've done before, what you're doing now, what I suggest for you or recommend for you. And it's just a really great way to start off on the right foot for us to get to know each other a little bit more, goals, etc. So for anyone who jumps in by Monday at midnight, you're going to get a 30-minute call with me. And if anyone is my current client, like a fitness client, please talk to me, text me, or shoot me an email or whatever, because I have a loyalty discount for people who are current clients. You're going to get a certain amount off the top of the price. So that is it. I'm going to pop in the chat an info page where you guys can get a little bit more information about, I want this to go to everyone, about Macros for Muscles. And then as I download this recording and get it out to you guys, hopefully I'm still recording. Yes, I am. I'm going to send you guys the recording and I'll have more information about Macros for Muscles within that too. So I would love to know what questions you guys have about anything or everything. And while you guys are deciding if you want to ask a question, you can pop it in the chat. You can unmute yourself and just ask. And I just want to say thank you guys for spending time with me. We're right at 1 hour. So thank you guys for spending part of your Sunday evening with me. It really means a lot to me. And I love to just share and give. And hopefully you learned something that you maybe didn't already know. And hopefully you have sort of a game plan of where you want to go next. Anybody have questions? Comments? How?
Just want to say thanks a lot for the free class, for the information.
Yeah.
It's very useful, and as always, I get a lot out of all the information you provide, Rachel. So thanks so much for providing the.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Tracy. Holly, did you have a question?
Oh, yes, I put it in the chat. It's sort of like but I think you already answered it in terms of the when you really try and want to lose a little weight or a lot of weight or whatever the case may be, the combination of the protein, the carbs, the fat, and then the workout situation. We can have a chat about that because I'm going to sign up tonight.
So I'm going to answer your question like a little bit generically so that other people can hopefully like apply it to their situation too. But I think that The way that I like to coach people with macros is not to get so far into the weeds about like, oh my God, I had 10 more carbs than I was supposed to. I want you guys to really focus on protein and getting an adequate amount of protein. And then whatever happens with your calories, as long as they're in whatever range that we've determined is good for you. So say it's 1,500 calories, Holly. As long as you're at 1,500 calories and you're hitting, let's just say 120 grams of protein, I do not think, and studies have shown, it doesn't matter whether it's a low fat diet or a high fat diet or a balance of carbs and fat. It matters that you're getting the protein that your body needs and that your calories are in the range that they're supposed to be. So you're not going higher calorie or super low calorie, that you're in that range that's going to be good for you and that you're getting an adequate amount of protein. In terms of workouts, I think sometimes we want to do all the things, right? We want to like slash our calories and we want to do 7 HIIT workouts each week. And the combination of those things is usually going to result in like not what you want. So typically like super high intensity workouts are going to make us really hungry. And if we've already slashed our calories, that means we're probably only going to hang on for so long until we fall face first into the bag of Doritos or like a vat of ice cream. That would be what I would do. So what we should do is focus on strength training, focus on moderate intensity exercise so that we're not trying to do all the things at one time. So if you ever hit a plateau and you have to figure out, am I going to reduce my calories or am I going to do a little bit more exercise to get into a deficit, an energy deficit? You want to be able to pull from one of those things. But if you're already working out 7 days a week, you know, burning 500 calories doing HIIT workouts, and you're only eating 1,100 calories a day, like what else are you going to do? There is nowhere else to go, right? You're going to do 9 HIIT workouts a week? No. So we want to keep exercise moderate while you're in a calorie deficit. And then you can decide strategically after some amount of time, if it's not working after a couple weeks, you can decide, am I going to increase my exercise or am I going to decrease my calories? And we don't want to like go super hard on all of the things at the same time, because then there's nowhere to go. So I suggest for people focusing on strength training, because that's what's going to help you build muscle or maintain muscle, rather than just like focusing on burning a crap ton of calories in your workouts, because that is going to have diminishing returns. The more muscle you have on your body, the more calories you can get away with eating in the first place. And so if you're burning up all your muscle by going into those like crazy intense workouts and eating not enough calories, you're never going to be able to build muscle. And in fact, you might do the opposite. You might start to break down the muscle that you have because your body is relying on it for fuel because you're not giving it enough food.
Thank you.
That's my big soapbox. I'll get down now. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. It's always good to know this kind of stuff because you read a million things and it's confusing, but I appreciate the way you the way you broke it down. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Anna. Does anybody else have questions? Questions, comments, feedback? I appreciate you guys very much. And I know you guys have families to get back to and things to do and places to go and bedtime to get ready for. So if you guys are good, then I will let you go.
Thank you so much, Rachel. This was great.
You're very welcome.
Very informative.
Love it. Take care, you guys. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.